somewhere up on.
Please.
Wait, I always thought a trapezoid had one straight side and one slanted side.
Okay.
So it just has two parallel sides.
We're going to start section 5.5 with the definition of a trapezoid. And it's not on the board, but you can write it. A trapezoid, should be writing, a trapezoid, Chris. T-R-A-P-E, zoid. Is a quadrilateral. So what does that mean?
It has 7 sides.
It has 4 sides.
And 4 equal.
Stop. With exactly one pair of parallel sides. With exactly one pair of parallel sides.
Are any of the objects
Can you say it one more time, Miss Allen?
A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. Okay, now draw the picture of the trapezoid that I have on the board, because we need to be able to identify the parts of a trapezoid. The parallel sides are called your bases. So you have base 1 and base 2. The other 2 sides are called the legs of the trapezoid.
There's no leg 1 and leg 2.
No.
Oh,
But we need to know base 1 and base 2 because we're going to be using that in some formulas. Yes.
What constitutes base 1?
It doesn't really matter. Whichever one you pick. Just distinguish between the 2 bases. I did. That was very intellectual.
Sam, tell her about. Do you know what the fear of
No.
What?
No,
Okay.
he didn't say anything. Shoot him.
Okay. So what's the deal with the trapezoid?
Shut up!
We are recording. One pair of parallel sides. So is a trapezoid a parallelogram?
Yes.
No. Parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides.
No.
Okay? So, now let's get more specific. An isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid in which the legs are congruent to each other. Just like an isosceles triangle had 2 equal sides, well, an isosceles trapezoid has 2 equal sides. Jacob.
So does that mean the angles across from them are congruent?
Not across from them. I'm going to tell you something in a second. Just hold on.
Is there
Can you
a
say that again?
symbol for trapezoid?
Yes, it's a little picture of a trapezoid.
Wait.
Wait,
Say
I have a
it again.
question.
So an isosceles trapezoid is.
An isosceles trapezoid has equal legs.
Okay.
Josh,
Are the adjacent angles like congruent? Like
just hold on. We're going to get into it. Just hold on. Okay? So a trapezoid has exactly one pair of parallel sides. An isosceles trapezoid gets more specific. Now the legs equal each other. Now, there are certain characteristics of an isosceles trapezoid which we need to know. And this is the first one, and this is your first theorem. The base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent to each other. Write that down, and then we'll identify what the base angles are. The base angles of an isosceles trapezoid, has to be isosceles, are congruent to each other. When you finish with that sentence, look up at the board. Now, when I say the base angles, notice there are 2 bases up there. It does not mean that all those angles are equal to each other. The angles formed by a single base
Base 2.
are congruent to each other. So in this case, angle B would be congruent to angle C. The angles formed by the other base are also congruent to each other. So angle A would be congruent to angle D. Only in isosceles trapezoids. Now there's another piece of information that's interesting. in relation to angles. Can somebody tell me what the relationship would be between angle
Supplementary.
A and B?
Supplementary supplements. What he
They
said.
are supplementary. Chris, please explain why.
Because parallel to parallel lines joined by transversal, something like that.
And
That's supplementary.
those are
And-
called,
Alternate.
no, they're not.
Same side angles.
Same side interior angles, and they're supplementary. So that means angle D and angle C would also be supplementary. Yes.
Do they have trapezoids and isosceles?
Yes. And we'll look at some pictures of some. Okay? But we need to know this about isosceles trapezoids. The base angles are congruent. The legs are congruent. So, if I told you that this was an isosceles trapezoid, which I don't have to put the words, I simply showed the tick marks on the legs that they're equal to each other, and I said that this had an angle measure of 70 degrees, could you figure out the measure of A, D, and C? Josh.
A and D is 110 and C is 70.
Okay? A and D is 110, very good, because same side interior angles are supplementary, base angles are equal, and here, base angles are equal. Okay? Now, you can only do this if it's isosceles.
Could you have a trapezoid where the bigger side is the top and it goes further out and goes like down like that?
Okay, yes, that's a good question. A trapezoid does not always have to be sitting on its bases. For instance, oops. That's not what I meant to do. That's still a trapezoid. Because it has exactly one pair of parallel sides. Okay? So it doesn't always have to be sitting in this direction. Now, let's talk about this trapezoid. Yes?
Does the median only happen on a isosceles triangle?
No. The median of a trapezoid, write this sentence down. The median of a trapezoid is the segment that joins the midpoints of the legs. Every trapezoid has a median.
You said that stupid.
The median is the segment joining the midpoints of the legs. Now, assuming this was not isosceles, that does not necessarily mean that all four little segments equal each other. It does mean that this leg on the left has been cut in half, and that this leg on the right has been cut in half.
So your median could be like slanted.
It could be slanted. It could be whatever. It's got to join the midpoints of the two legs. Okay?
Wait, but then it wouldn't be parallel to the thing here. Bases.
It doesn't have to be parallel to this.
What? This was guy right there?
It will still be parallel to the bases.
Wait, but
We're gonna play with one. Okay? We're gonna play with one. Hold on. Two other characteristics about a median are this. It is parallel to the bases. And the length of a median is equal to the average of the two bases. Well, how do you find an average of something?
add them together and divide it by however many there are.
Right, so if you're adding two things, then you add it and you divide by 2, right? But if you want a pretty little formula, here it is. It's half the sum of the two bases. So if I said that this base had a measure of 20 and this base had a measure of 8, and I asked you to find the measure of the median. It's 14.
Oh, we could have used that in our little thing. You tricky, tricky woman, you.
Okay?
Oh, if our test would have been on Thursday.